Normally when I cover text messages, it's about really creepy guys doing unhinged things to women through texts or videos, whatever. Today is a little different. This is only like the second time I've covered a story like this, where a guy encountered a woman and it was very different dynamic of things that happened. However, what I want to talk about here is actually the way that this guy handles the situation, because I actually think it's a masterclass in how to communicate effectively. I'll bring you up to speed on the lore that lead to these text messages. The original poster here on Reddit is a man who has been talking to a woman for a couple of hours, and then he receives these messages. Hi. I've been thinking about you all evening and can't get you out of my mind, handsome. I know it's a little early to say this, but I have such a special feeling about you. And he goes, oh wow, that's really nice of you to say. I appreciate that so much. She says, you're welcome. While you've been away, I even told my mom and my friends about you. It truly takes a rare kind of guy for me to be able to say those things so quickly about. I feel so lucky and honored that the stars aligned to have us match when we did. You feel too good to be true, and I want you to know that. And he's blushing here like an anime character. Oh gosh, wow. Gee willikers, goodness gracious. That's super nice. Thank you. Out of curiosity, what is it about me that stands out to you? So, again, they have only been talking for a couple hours in total, and she's already basically planning their wedding. She's telling all of her friends, her family about this guy, despite not knowing shit about him. Prior to this, they had only talked about their pets. At least that's what he said, mainly their pets. So this is a lot to take in here. She's basically creating this Hallmark movie out of nothing. Off rip. We only started talking a couple hours ago and only shared a few texts back and forth so far. So, I'm honestly just curious what caught your attention about me, because that's very, very sweet of you. This may sound crazy, but call it a sixth sense if you will. I can read people like a book, and I already feel like you, I've known you forever. I don't know if you believe in past lives or not, but if stuff like that exists, I had a weird feeling about 30 minutes ago that we knew each other in a past life, and I have to get to the bottom of where and how. Damn, that's really crazy. It really is, though. Thank you for finding your way to me. And he just goes, haha, you're welcome. When asked what about him exactly drew her to feel so strongly about him so quickly, she says that it was a sixth sense. Basically, it's her superpower. She's one of the Avengers, and she has the ability to find her soulmate after only communicating with them for a couple of hours. She's like a vibe sorceress. She's able to pick up on vibes and figure out who's got the best vibes for her, and falls in love very quickly. Nothing here seems malicious, and in a vacuum, it's pretty sweet messages, but these are messages you'd expect from someone that you are actively dating or someone you have known for a long time and are progressing to that stage. This isn't something that you would immediately dump on someone's plate after only knowing them for a couple of hours. That's a lot of food to digest there. That's a lot to put in your pipe and smoke here. There's a lot happening way too quickly. I hope you don't think I'm crazy. I don't normally say stuff like this to guys, but there's something different here, almost like spiritual energy. I've been waiting for my soulmate for years and kept getting led astray by the wrong people, and now I think I know why. We have to meet ASAP. I'm so excited to see what out energy in person is like. If it's this intense over text, I can't imagine how incredible IRL our dynamic will be. She's definitely seeing these text messages through a different lens here, because I'm not picking up on any type of electric energy. I'm not getting butterflies in my tummy just reading it. I'm not getting the tingles. This is two very different levels of intensity and excitement. She's out here full of jubilation, like she just won the lottery. Meanwhile, the guy's energy is the same excitement you get over finding an extra chicken nugget in your 8-piece box. Like, it's very different. But he still says, when are you free? I'd love to meet tomorrow, but I have therapy late afternoon and then work at night. So how about the day after? That would probably work. I can let you know for sure by tomorrow at some point. How about I take you to dinner? I would love that. I'm so looking forward to the first meeting in our beautiful story, handsome. Aw, lol. You're so sweet. I have to go to bed now for work tomorrow morning, but let's talk more tomorrow. Absolutely. Sweet dreams, sweetheart, and you'll be in my dreams. He says, sweet dreams. I hope you have a good night's rest. The next morning rolls around and it's a totally different ball game, sports fans. Good morning. How's your morning going? She says, good morning. Fine, and yours? Now he's the one with a lot of energy now. Great so far. You're hitting him with the Tony the Tiger. Great. Just had a meeting with my boss and got some pretty positive feedback, so I'm pretty happy about that. And she just one-words him. Gotcha. He immediately picks up on the tonal shift here and says, "Is everything okay, lol?" "Yeah, why do you ask?" "Because you're being more short than you were yesterday, which is fine. I'm just trying to see if you're okay and if you need anything." This guy seems like an actual sweetheart, but this guy seems like a peach. This guy seems legitimately like a nice person. And she goes, "I appreciate that. Well, to be honest, I was in my feels this morning when I woke up to no good morning text from you." That's an odd thing to expect from someone who is legitimately still a stranger to you, but even still, he apologizes, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I woke up later and had to rush to work. As soon as I got to work, I had the meeting with my boss and then immediately texted you after the meeting was over. I'm really sorry for the misunderstanding." "Yeah, it's cool. I just thought you were perfect for me and then this happens." And he's as confused as every other person on the planet would be. He says, "I'm confused. Did I do something wrong? It's still pretty early in the morning. It's not like I went most or even half of the day without texting you." She then says, "Love is about prioritizing other person and you clearly prioritize your job and your boss over me." I'm going to let that ruminate for a moment. I'm going to let you go ahead and marinate in that text for a second. And now we'll proceed. He says, "You could have sent a good morning text to me too, you know." Let's just pause there. Love is about prioritizing other person and you clearly prioritize your job and your boss over me. Yes, as he should. You are a stranger. What do you expect him to do? March in there up to his boss, spit in his face and be like, "I quit. I'm going to go travel the world with this girl I talked to last night. We're going to go around the world in a hot air balloon, damn it. And you can't stop me anymore. I don't need this job. I'm out." What an extraordinarily selfish and downright evil thing to ask of a partner. Especially one that's not even your partner. This is, again, a mysterious stranger to you. They haven't even met yet. I hopped on Apex Legends on stream the other night and ended up queuing with a random squad mate in 3 consecutive games. I knew more about that through him just on the open mic than these two know about each other. And it's not like I'd send him a good morning text, but like she's making this huge issue about not receiving a good morning text in a timely enough fashion for her expectations. He still sent a good morning text, mind you, when he didn't need to, since again, they're not dating and they really don't even know each other at all, but he still sent one. It just wasn't fast enough for her, and that right now is a massive problem to her. That is shocking. Why does it automatically have to be me going first? Plus, to be honest, we barely know one another. I don't think it's fair that there are already these expectations. Super reasonable from him. And he's right. If it really is a huge deal to her, she could have been the one to send the good morning text, and then he would have known and been able to respond when he could. She then says, "Dude, you are the man here. You're supposed to be winning my heart. That's your role. I don't want to chase someone. I deserve someone who will romance me and win me over. Waiting to text me until you get to the office shows your priorities are not what I thought they were." What the what are you talking about? He's already won your heart over by just existing, it seems like, since you... Oh, I'm farting. Yeah, that's how much I think of that statement. I rest my case. I'll let my asshole do the talking on that one. Not much more needs to be said there. He then responds, "I'm sorry, but this is crazy. We are practically strangers and you're already making demands. I do romance whoever I'm pursuing. I'm a very romantic guy. I did text you early this morning, but because it wasn't done exactly the way you think it should be, I'm a bad guy." She then goes on to explain that she doesn't think he's a bad guy, but just doesn't like that he doesn't feel the same way about her as she does to him. She then also explains that the therapist she sees is for her borderline personality disorder, and she explains how that relates to what they've been talking through. And that made a lot of sense when I read that with the way she was acting throughout these text messages. And that is a very real struggle that I always have a lot of sympathy for, and I'm always wishing the best for people going through BPD. It's great that she's trying to get help through therapy, and I'm wishing the absolute best for her with that. What I want to talk about here, though, is how he handles this whole situation. Even before knowing about her BPD, which obviously he didn't since they are completely strangers to each other, he was still being very respectful and communicating effectively. He wasn't being combative or aggressive. He was being a very wholesome individual, and this is just an unfortunate set of circumstances. He responds by saying that he appreciates her sharing her vulnerability, and then says, "Do you mind if I share something that's bothering me a little bit?" And she says, "Yes, please do. I want to know how you feel so badly. Please open up to me." "Well, I'm a little scared that you're already using the word love in regards to us. We are still basically strangers and have been texting for less than 24 hours. And she just says, Kay, should have known you weren't special after all. You're a normie, a basic bitch if you will. Normies don't understand or appreciate love. They will never know what we do. He says, who is we? She says, empaths. I am an empath and feel things more strongly and deeply than regular people, something you clearly don't appreciate and take for granted. One day someone will see my gift and cherish it. He says, I mean, I wanted to take you on a date. If it went well and we were compatible after a while, I was definitely interested in a serious committed relationship, but I do have to meet someone first to know that and hang out a bit first before I make that commitment, which again is a totally understandable thing. And she says, off bro, you're disgusting. I can't believe I ever saw something in you. You are not the one, you're just another schmuck in a long string of disappointments. Schmuck is a word I haven't heard since the Stone Ages, and I really appreciate that she dusted it off for this message. Schmuck is something that used to make me giggle every time I heard it when I was a kid. I deserve better. You thought I loved you, but I don't, bitch. Don't ever contact me again. We are over. I never loved you. You lost the best girl. You'll never meet someone like me again because you're a normie who can't see or identify a gym. We are not the same. Love is not a lie. You were. You're the problem. Don't contact me again, basic bitch. You repulse me. Bye, loser. It's actually very sad reading these things. Like, this isn't your normal r/nice guy blow up moment where a dude pretends to be a nice person just to try and get laid, and when he doesn't get pussy out of it, he has a meltdown like, I don't love you, you're fat and ugly, and no one would ever love you. I'm the nicest guy you'll ever meet, and you just blew it with me, the alpha male. You get out of town, scram, swine. Like, this isn't one of those moments. It's not her fault she has BPD. But she's clearly not ready for a real relationship right now. She's going to need to continue to get help. Her having BPD doesn't make this hurt any less for the guy who just received this. He's done nothing wrong. And I actually think he is a great example of how to communicate softly, respectfully, and just being a pretty good example of like how to just be a normal person when interacting with somebody else. He also mentioned that he is still currently receiving text messages from her that continue to get scarier and more extreme, which is unfortunate to hear. It definitely sounds like she needs help with this to come up with more effective ways of dealing with her BPD, and hopefully she finds that help she needs. But I thought this was worth sharing, and yeah, that's really about it. See ya. Last night I had a little trouble falling asleep. I think what I needed was a good bedtime story. So I turned to Reddit, just cruising around, perusing, see if I could find anything that'd give me the yawns and help me go night-night. But I found something extraordinary. Something so stimulating I stopped any attempt at going to sleep, and I just sat there bewildered by what I had just read. For at least 40 minutes, I just sat in silence, truly stunned, like a child who had just watched his first episode of Chris Angel's Mind Freak. My brain was blown out my ass. I couldn't imagine a world where this was real, but all of the evidence pointed to it being a genuinely true story. I did eventually hit the hay, and now, a full 9 hours later, I'm still thinking about this, so I figured, why not share it with all of you? Perhaps this will have a profound effect on your life, or maybe it'll do something to help motivate you to not be like the guy in this story. It's a series of text messages between a man and a woman. And that's all I'll tell you for now. I don't want to get in any spoilers. I want you to come into this as unsuspecting as possible. Let's dive in. Previously on Dragon Ball Z, the two people in this text conversation were close friends for about 9 years. The Reddit poster is the woman in this story, and her male friend here had recently professed his love for her in a pretty creepy way. The feeling wasn't mutual, so it led to a bit of a disconnect between the two of them, and in an act of desperation, the male friend calls in the cringe artillery and starts bombarding her with memes, to which she finally responds, "Hey, I appreciate the memes." Real quick, I'd like to come in here with a PSA. I recognize that in the current climate of things, there's a lot of people that have lived their entire lives online without any actual social interaction, so I want this to be a teachable moment. Don't send memes as some kind of last-ditch Hail Mary. Like, if you let something rip and it's not reciprocated, Spamming memes isn't going to salvage the situation, it's only going to make it worse and even weirder. Her saying, I appreciate the memes, is just a lie. No one's ever going to say that. Those words have probably not left the human being's mouth ever. Ah, good morrow, sailor. I really appreciate the exquisite memes you've shared with me today. I was a little perturbed with our last conversation, but now that you've sent 1,000 memes, I see you've got a good heart. Thank you for this. And I'm speaking from experience here. I'm very knowledgeable in this field. I'm the authority on this matter. I've told this story before, but I'll just briefly repeat it. The very first girl I was ever flirting with and exchanging text messages with was back in high school, and she did not feel the same way about me as I did her. And in my weakest moments, I turned to the dark side and consulted the Sith Lords, and was advised to try and maybe like send goofy memes and ASCII art, because that was big back in the day. So I did. And guess what? It didn't solve anything, it just made it even worse. I know how uncomfortable that must have been for her. So yeah, that is not the right play, to just start spamming memes and shit. But anyway, she continues the message by saying that she's only ever thought of him as a close friend and never really viewed him in a romantic way. So when he professed her love, it made things a little weird. They grew distant, they grew a bit hostile, but she thinks they can be friends again just as long as it's very clear that there is no romantic feelings in this relationship. She's just laying down the brass tacks and making things very clear, to which he responds, I certainly had my head on backwards, but as my friend, I really think you're adorable, and every trip I've ever taken with you is so precious. I've heard of a Japanese word called shibumi, and it's basically authority without dominance. Call me a simp, but I really think you have that. Code red, he's not taking no for an answer. Jinkies, we're going too deep. He just busted out shibumi. Jesus Christ, we're in the in-game now. Lord help us. He continues to spaghetti dump here for the novel that he's writing her. There's steam coming off of the touchscreen pad as he's writing. The most important takeaway here is a very specific line, a buzzword that gets dropped that I think is very important that we highlight. He says, sometimes it feels like my chivalrous interest with you is underappreciated or just unappreciated sometimes. The reason I point that out is because I'm pretty confident that the word chivalry is used exclusively by creeps. I don't think there's been a documented case of a normal person saying chivalry, especially not in this context. It's just like an immediate red flag word to drop, especially when saying that my chivalrous interest is underappreciated, you know, it's not valued enough. It's just some certified weirdo Redditor energy, like tip in the hat, m'lady. It's no problem, you're welcome for holding the door open for you. Chivalry isn't dead, am I right? I'm the perfect example. No, of course, I'm just kidding. I jest. Chivalry can't die, because to die, it would imply that it was ever alive in the first place. Only a living thing can experience death, and chivalry is not a living thing. It's an idea, more of a social code, per se. He continues on, and then eventually tells her that she should like one of them so he doesn't feel crazy, to which she says, "You're not crazy, I just need some time to think." Which I think is a perfectly reasonable response to all of this, but he gives her no time to think and immediately just comes back to, please, let me find favor in your eyes. I'm assuming he heard that in some kind of like indie song at some point, so he tried to throw that in here to see if it'd work. So he's going full-blown Robert Frost now, even then drops a picture saying, daydream with me, and it's like the sun rising. So it's getting very emotional in here. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because it's him once again just begging for any kind of reciprocation, to which she just keeps saying she just needs some time to process all of this. But he's extremely impatient. His foot is fully on the gas and there's no turning back now. He is full throttle invested in all of this. He's using every possible cliche line imaginable, but he's not finding any favor in her eyes. It just keeps going. You're valid. Never really heard the extent of why I'm your friend, so now he's like interrogating her. Why am I your buddy? Why am I your pal, huh? Tell me. I could tell you all day why you're my friend. Your voice is music. I think you're brilliant. Just a brilliant person to be around. Really wish I could hug you. This hurts. Then again, she reiterates, I need time to think. I will reach out when I'm ready. And now we've finally gotten past the introduction here and we're entering the climax. Welcome to the wacky zone. He once again gives her no time to like reach out or process any of this. He reaches out pretty soon after everything, only a couple of days, and says, so like, is there any chance as your friend I could send you something explicit? She says, what do you mean? And And then he goes, NSFW, which I'm sure all of you know what that means, but I'll break it down anyway. Not safe for work. Of course, she wasn't expecting this curveball, so she says, are you trying to make a joke right now? And then he goes, no, kind of a gamble. I will say this is a historic moment. You are witnessing the worst gamble in history. Congratulations, we all got to be a part of this. This is, by far, the absolute worst possible gamble you could ever make. This is like betting 100% of your life savings on me getting taller. Like, what the... like, I don't understand how you think an out-of-nowhere nudie is going to somehow win her over and, like, somehow solve all of these problems. I just can't even understand that mindset, really. It just doesn't compute. Like, okay, I tried all of the lovey-dovey, really mushy-gushy stuff with the favor in your eyes, your voice is like magic, or music. It didn't work. So let's try something a little more primal. Wiener. What about penis? Eureka! This might be the answer. Let's try it. She's once again just trying to make sure she fully understands the lunacy going on here, so she says, are you asking me if you can send me something sexually explicit? Respectfully. What a gentleman. A fedora tip to you, my gentle sir. That is sophisticated. Very respectful. Milady, doth thou wish to gaze upon my meat? And then he sends her a dick pic with his pinky out while holding it. An incredibly interesting play here, as if somehow his cock was going to hypnotize her and make her fall in love with him. So she eventually responds by pointing out how weird this whole interaction has become. She still only ever viewed them as friends and will only ever view him as a friend, and that she's very disappointed that he can't even respect that she wants some time to herself to process this entire weird interaction. She also drops a bombshell at the end by mentioning that she's currently in a relationship, so that was a big plot twist. This goober is doing all of this to a girl who is not interested and also in a relationship. The odds couldn't be more against him. Now, she used a word at the end that's about to change the entire course of this interaction. She said, it sucked when you went all incel on me towards the end. That word, I had a big voice crack there, that's how powerful that word is. That one word ruffled this guy's feathers so much. You're about to see a full-blown ballistic breakdown from it. I respect that. Also, if I'm an incel, you're toxic, so let's not name call. She's toxic because she doesn't want him. Why is that even in your argument, that I can't get someone? I can. You choose not to. That's fair, but you didn't get to call me an incel because you decline. You go out of your way to say it. Why is that? Label me as anything else, like, for real. It's foolish for you to argue something like that. She gets taken off guard here, saying like, hey, whoa, 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 pump the brakes, Buster. I didn't mean to offend you. She says, I never said you couldn't get someone. What do you mean? She never said that. Like, he is now just projecting some insecurities and reading between the lines on shit that doesn't exist. She just said his behavior was that of, like, an incel or something. And he keeps going. You should know I'm anything but a little dick incel, so out of here with that shit. Again, she never even pointed out your penis or anything. She didn't call it small. Like, where is this coming from? He's fighting ghosts. I'm not even gonna pretend that's valid. You're with a beta cuck to begin with. Maybe that's your type, and maybe that's why we aren't together. Have fun with that. The mask has come off. He is unchained, unhinged, and unhappy. Your boyfriend's a beta cuck loser. That's the only reason you and I aren't together, because that's what you're into, beta cucks. You couldn't handle an alpha male testosterone titan like me, a real man who cries while he texts. She then goes on to say, like, look, if you find me to be toxic and all of this awful stuff, like, okay, then, you know, you shouldn't be upset that we're not close anymore. And to this big message, he just responds by saying, I'll see you in hell. And then she says r/nice guys, which this very much is an r/nice guys moment. You know, keep in mind, this is still, like, only a couple days after the whole poetic, allow me to find favor in your eyes, miss. Your voice is music, sweet music. And now it's, what an excellent take on a 7-year waste of my time. To which she responds, so you're just waiting around until I'd eventually date you? That's on you, man. She's absolutely right. That is entirely on you. This dude played the long game, almost an entire decade of pretending to be her friend in the hopes that eventually you'll get to her. I guess was the plan. That is a long commitment to a deep cover operation to stay in disguise, faking friendship, hoping that eventually you'll be able to have sex with her. Then he says, how was I supposed to know you're only interested in half men? I've never even seen that term used before. This guy's pulling all kinds of Insano-style phrases out of his ass now. I spent 7 years just waiting for you to notice the difference, but I guess I bet on the wrong horse. This goober spent 7 years pretending to be her friend, hoping that somehow she'd fall in love with him? This is craziness. This is a longer time spent undercover than Rob Lucci and the gang during the Water 7 arc of One Piece. Like, this is outrageous how long he committed to this ridiculous, diabolical plan. And now he's just full anime villain mode. I'm over you. That's why I asked if you needed a visual definition of the word endowed, because I bet you're never going to get that with the life you choose to live without me. I grew this dick for you, you ungrateful clod. We have to pause here for a moment. Wow. I grew this dick for you, you ungrateful clod. That is one of the most powerful sentences I've ever had the pleasure of reading. What does that even mean? That's not even possible. How could you have grown your penis for her? Was there no dick there to begin with, and then you just started, what, like planting the seeds and then taking care of it like summertime gardening? Like, what does that mean, you grew it for her? Is it a laboratory experiment like the Cybermen? Like, I don't understand. It's just such a bafflingly amazing sentence. She's also stunned, saying, I refuse to believe that these messages aren't satire. And then that sets him off even further. This entire relationship is satire. A joke. Your interest in men is a joke. The wambulance is coming in hot. He's Squidward, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward, we're all Squidward. This whole relationship satire, it's all a joke, you're a joke, F you. My interest in you is a joke. This is the first time I wanted to show someone my dick because I hate them. Brilliant. R/nice guys, these nuts. She waits a while and then says, I think enough time has passed and I just genuinely want to know if you've had any remorse for the shit you said to me or if you truly believe it was all valid. And then he responds 7 hours later saying, let's find out if you're still seeing the Hat Man first. I don't know what that means, but then he comes back 2 hours later and said, I'm over you. You're wasting your time. So he's trying to flip this around on her like, you missed your opportunity with the golden goose. You missed your opportunity with the alpha. I've moved on, you harpy. I don't need you anymore, harlot. Listen, I've matured a lot. You clearly haven't. So you're wasting your time trying to talk to me now. You had your chance, you blew it. I'm sure you're kicking yourself now for this, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But then just to finish it off with the cherry on top, he quotes from before where he was offering to show her his wiener and says, I still mean this if you need clarification. And then comes back and says, except don't even bother asking for nudes. I have a girlfriend. Okay. I mean, this is quite the ride. What an adventure. She eventually just says, you know, what's wrong with you? We were friends for almost a decade. And then you go into this shit. Which is a reasonable response. Like, how did this happen? We have been friends for like 10 years. We've known each other for so long. Where did this come from? It is crazy. This whole situation was wild. And also, I'm calling fiddlesticks on that last statement from him. I don't believe he has a girlfriend. If we go back to like chapter 7 of this meltdown, he said that she was the first girl he wanted to show his penis to. So, I'm under the impression he's a virgin. And I don't think enough time has passed between those messages and these that he would not only lose his virginity, but then also have a girlfriend, especially given all of the behavior we're seeing exhibited here. So, I think he lied about that. That was probably just once again some kind of Hail Mary to make her jealous. Like, hey, listen, Toots. Got a girlfriend. Stay off of me. Can't send you nudes anymore. You blew it. Nope, can't do it. Sorry. That's on you. Yeah, you'll regret this for the rest of your life, clearly. Sorry. Have a girlfriend. Even though it's most likely a lie. But yeah, that's all there is to the story here. Overall, I think we can all agree that nice guys really do finish last. It is insulting that these two didn't end up getting married. This guy is a real catch, and it's just a shame to see that it didn't pan out. But yeah, overall, dropping the sarcasm, I actually feel really bad for the woman in this situation here. This is someone who was a close friend to her for a decade, only to then find out that that close friend was actually just a complete piece of shit, loser, degenerate, who was only being her friend, trying to have sex with her down the line. I can't even imagine that kind of betrayal. That must have been awful. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to share this because I've been thinking about it like all day. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah, I have to talk about these text messages. I can't help it. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I'm only human. These are extraordinary in like the creepiest way imaginable. I usually don't like to do the same type of content back to back, and yesterday I covered some text messages as well, but I can't resist the urge. It calls out to me, the void beckons, and I have to speak on these. So, the context. A lady had an old co-worker whom had been fundamentally stalking her for quite some time. Her and her husband had dealt with this individual for a while, and decided to share some of the unhinged messages that they had been sent by him. There was a lot more that happened besides these text messages, but that's what was shared and what I want to go over. Pull your seatbelt here, because this is about to be a pretty intense ride. This is a good read from cover to cover, if you like lunacy. Hey, I hope your weekend has started nicely. I apologize it took me a few days to feel like I could say this. No need to apologize, goober. I get it. Had to muster up the courage here. Hype yourself up in the mirror so that you could really let the demon out. You need to break up with blank, and then agree to be my girlfriend, with intentions to be my wife. And let me explain why. So he's basically acting like a car salesman here, trying to drive the hard bargain. It's like an episode of Shark Tank. I'm seeking a wife for 10% equity in my cock. I have no doubt he also had a PowerPoint presentation prepared for this, but unfortunately maybe it didn't attach, so it didn't send. I can provide more for you than he can. The independent woman facade you engage in wouldn't be necessary with me. I make more than enough money in my job in order to take care of you and provide you with a lakefront house, which I know is a desire of yours. I can provide you the free time that you often post about and yearn for to engage in your favorite hobby, ceramics. All I ask for you is your devotion in return. I know I am perhaps not physically desirable to you, which is why I plan to compensate with the lifestyle you often talk about wanting to provide yourself. You can really feel the fedora through these messages. It smells of such potent desperation. It's also very interesting that he calls attention to not being physically desirable to her. It's an interesting negotiation tactic. Excuse me, madam. I know you may not be physically attracted to me, but here's how I can make up for my face looking like turbo ass. I know if you could be given an opportunity, you would take it because you mostly desire to be able to experience freedom in life. It is something painful for me knowing you could have everything you wanted if you would simply agree to be my wife in the future. I could also pay off your student loans and car loan, which I know you've expressed desire to have those completed in the next 6 years. I could do that today, with a simple call to your loan companies. All I need from you is to immediately move to my property and begin your new life with me. Jesus Christ, that is concerning. I can pay off all of this, just come join my cult. And I promise I am not a rapist or a creep. Nothing screams good guy quite like needing to clarify that you are neither a rapist nor a creep. I mean, would he lie to you, right? I mean, that's what a normal person says, like, by the way, miss, I am neither rapist nor creep, so you should feel safe around me. Now come live on my property immediately. I am not going to imprison you, or shackle you, or enslave you to a basement. Well, alright, breath of fresh air. I was a little concerned about that, but now, luckily, he explained it. Now there's no reason to feel alarmed anymore about that being a possibility. You are free to continue your friendships with your womanly friends and your relationships with your family. I would never take this from you. I would never force you into sexual situations you do not want to be in. I know it must sound so strange hearing this, but I feel I must make it clear to you that this is a dream opportunity that will not harm you in any capacity other than dropping your current life, boyfriend, and job, and immediately begin pursuing your hobbies while we plan our wedding. I've got a sneaking suspicion that this guy would absolutely shackle her and imprison her in the basement. But I imagine she wouldn't be alone down there. There's probably quite a few other victims that he has in that basement. This is a unhinged creep. Now, it's important to mention that this isn't just some random person sending a bunch of nonsense. This is a very credible threat to the safety of this woman. So, according to the husband, they had been dealing with this individual for quite some time. and they even went to court over it. There's a lot that this individual has done aside from just these creepy messages, and it had been a huge problem for them for a while. This is a really dangerous person to be around. I hope you're not overwhelmed. I know we have not spoken very much in the last 6 years we've known each other. I've always known you were supposed to be mine as soon as I met you on March 3rd, 2018. He's got that shit marked in his calendar as the most important day of his life. I've never once inserted myself into your life. I haven't pestered you for your phone number, and we have an occasional chat on Facebook now that we're not in the same office anymore. I've been satisfied with this level of acquaintanceships for years, and I understand that you have been with blank since 2012. I understand you were committed to him prior to us meeting, but blank, you must agree that we have something special. We share so many interests, and we were always able to have great natural conservation. When we would attend lunch together during the workday, it was an effortless and relaxing experience to share those 40 minutes with you once or twice a week. And don't think I forgot how often you paid for yourself, a trait I knew was you trying to assert your independence in front of me. Oh, the delusion. Oh, the delusion is sickening. That's an example of something I've talked about quite a bit on stream, where no matter what, there are people that will view things in an entirely different lens that make no sense. Something as simple as her buying lunch for herself was interpreted, misconstrued by this menace as her trying to assert her independence in front of him. So it's just like this honestly scary situation where something totally innocent, like just buying yourself lunch, has now completely been lost in the sauce of this dude's noodle, where he thinks it was all about him. It's so weird. I knew then you were trying to show me that you'd love for someone to take care of you. I'm ready to settle into a family-oriented life, and I recall you saying you would have children if you had the financial capital to do so. I know you desire to be a mother, despite your current male partner not wanting them. You would make a wonderful mother to our children. I would ensure you had everything you needed to live the family life of your dream. Wow, I just had a voice crack. That was a big voice crack, too. This man's serial killer stalker Riz just attacked my vocal folds. And I know you love to travel. Before we settle down with children, I want to take you to your dream destination list. I've kept track of all the places you've mentioned over the last few years that you'd like to visit. You always share such a beautiful landscape photos. He's like the Zodiac killer here. I bet if this wasn't over Facebook Messenger or whatever, it would have been sent via postage, letters in the mail, using cutouts from magazines for the letters. I want to take you to Japan, to Thailand, to New Zealand, to Greece. Yaw! It's like that classic one. Oregon! Yaw! The Dean scream. And after that, we'll go to the opal mines in Australia for your dream ring, and then I'll take you to all the waterfalls the islands have to offer. How does this sound? My proposition is serious. You know I am a serious man. I'm turning 45 years old this year, and you are turning 32 years old. It's time to start making decisions about our familial life and how to enjoy our remaining years. Please know I have never offered any woman this proposition. I have a very secure career that I enjoy and will do whatever it takes to maintain in order to have your companionship, sexual prowess, and motherly raising of our children. I will give you everything you desire, as long as you agree to be my wife and raise our children. A very strong negotiation overall. I wonder how she'll respond to this in the Shark Tank. Hey, blank. I wanted to acknowledge that I received your message. It's really long though, so give me a minute to read and respond. That feels more like she's very afraid and is doing this out of pure obligation, like buying time, to figure out how to handle this without setting this guy off on like some kind of rampage, like this violent outburst, which is smart on her part for sure, to like very gently navigate this, because it's a scary situation having a stalker like this. Good morning. I am still awaiting your acceptance of my proposal. I look forward to hearing from you. Oh god. He's dropping the hammer now. It's all business. And he's not taking no for an answer. Good morning, goofball. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't know how to respond to this. I don't mean this negatively, but I honestly don't know whether or not to take this seriously. What I mean by that is, I don't know if this is a joke or not. You said this is quite out of left field, so I'm not exactly sure how to respond to you. This proposition is very serious. I have to make serious considerations about my familial life as I'm ready to establish this. I know I can offer you much more than your boyfriend can. It has been 10 years, and he still has not provided you with those things you desire most. I am a better provider than he is, and I will ensure your needs are met. Please, I would appreciate you taking this seriously and giving me a date and time I can come collect your items and move you into my house. It's in northern blank. This guy is already convinced that it's a yes, and now he's just trying to figure out when he should schedule the college hunks hauling junks to come collect all of her shit to move in with him. So now she fully responds to this. Surely you have to understand I can't agree to something like this. My life is my life because I've built it this way. I am not a damsel waiting to be rescued. While yes, I would enjoy an easier path to achieving the lifestyle I want, I don't mind working for it, and frankly, I'm insulted that you perceive my career to be a choice I'm settled to because I have not found the right man. Most importantly, it's another level of egotistical to assume I would dump an 11-year relationship in an instant for a fantasy pipe dream of yours. I mean this seriously. I'm not interested in your proposition. Trading my life for materialistic items and to be breed mare is not something I ever intended to do with my time. I don't know you. You don't know me. You have a limited glimpse into my life through my social media posts. What you see online represents a fraction of who I am as a person. We were co-workers and nothing more. I made this very clear to you in the years we worked together. I was in my relationship prior to even working with you. Yes, you're right, you never crossed that boundary, but instead you spent the last 6 years building a fantasy and dream life in your mind in which you think I would trade my value as a human being for a lake house and free time for pottery. I'm not sure how you became convinced this would be enough to make me leave the life I have built, but I need to assure you it's not. Please do not ask me this again. I am not interested, nor will I ever be interested in being your wife and child-bearer. So she lets it all hang out here. She pulls no punches. She sets the record straight and says it right to his face. Well, as close to his face as anyone will ever come through text messages here. Breed mare. Now, there's no need to insult me. I am not propositioning you to live in solitude and to raise children alone. I want a family. I want you to be my wife, specifically, and I want to build a family with you. I thought you were intelligent enough to understand how great of an offer this is. Buddy, she is intelligent enough to recognize that her life would be in danger saying yes to you, you absolute maniac, you weirdo. She is extremely smart to say no to this, as pretty much everyone on the planet with any level of survival instincts would. You're weird, you're dangerous, you're creepy, you're a stalker. Everyone's going to be saying no to you. I know you're primarily saying no because you don't find me physically attractive. If I looked better than your boyfriend, I have no doubts you would emphatically tell me yes. I didn't know you were so shallow. Oh, now he's going full nice guy mask off mode, even though he wasn't really putting up a nice guy persona in the first place. You would learn to be physically attracted to me just as I learned to be physically attracted to you after you gained 60 pounds. You look much better when you are staying in the 150 to 200 pound range, yet I never said a word to you about the fact that you gained so much weight because I realized you were perfect otherwise. I realized your looks didn't matter when your soul is what I wanted to spend time with. He probably wants to suck her soul out of her body like Shang Tsung. Like, this is a threat to her life, and she is absolutely making the right call, trying her best to get away from this guy and shut it down as hard as possible. It is simply a trade for a house and free time. Oh, the barter method, of course. I am offering you the very thing you constantly talked about and post about, the freedom to enjoy your existence without stress and anxiety. There would be more stress and anxiety with you because you are actually dangerous. It'd be a constant, like, guessing game of whether or not she's going to survive through the night under your roof. This guy is scary. And he makes it seem like so simple. Simply, in return, we are married and have a family together. Yeah, I mean, that's small potatoes. That's nothing. That's no big deal. It's a great trade. You get a house and you get the weirdest man in the world. A win-win. You would learn to love it because our home together would be so peaceful and joyful. However, perhaps you're right, and you are not the woman I thought you were. You're attracted to a low-life loser who filed bankruptcy at 25, hid his credit card debt from you. You pay his bills while he job hops because he doesn't know how to stay at a job for longer than a year. You cried constantly at work and had panic attacks not knowing where the money was going to come from. And what did you do? You worked a second and third job to make ends meet while he piddled away at putting in applications and not manning up to do what he needed to do. Why are you choosing this weak boy over me? I am mature, career-oriented, family-oriented, and I am a devoted partner. I would never force you into a position to make up for my shortcomings like your boyfriend does. I am better than him in every way, and yet you still choose him. It is baffling to me why young women like yourself want to be with the losers and drug dealers who will end up beating you silly. Keep in mind, this is coming from the same worm, the same specimen, who had to assure her he's not a rapist and wouldn't imprison her and shackle her. I think this guy is the one that most likely would beat a woman silly, because he has all of the red flags you could possibly imagine about a man. I'm going to fast forward through the second paragraph meltdown here, which is just a teary-eyed tantrum with him shaking his fist saying, "I thought you were different. You must stay with him for his penis size, because I can't even begin to understand how someone as intelligent as you are would turn down my offer. A luxury life free of stress turned down for a life of second guessing and financial strain? Why? What good reason do you have to turn down my offer?" He immediately goes to wiener size. Just another huge insecurity here. So I'm guessing not only is he physically appalling, but he also has a tiny cock. She says, "I'm not even going to entertain that message with a response. I don't owe you any explanation about why I'm still with my boyfriend even after all his shortcomings. I don't owe you an explanation on anything, ever. I've been wondering all evening what it could possibly be about me that you're so repulsed by that you won't accept the offer of a lifetime." Yeah, it's such a mystery. What about this perfect gentleman here and scholar would she find repulsive? I'm racking my brain and I got nothing. I have no idea. What could she possibly not like about him? He's such a doll. My friends are also appalled. Why aren't you accepting this? Yeah, I'm sure he has so many friends. He contacts all his friends. He's like, "Guys, she won't just give up her life and move in with me. What's wrong with this bitch, huh? What's going on? Huh? Is she crazy? She's crazy, right? It's not me. I'm not the problem, right?" I didn't think so. It's definitely her. "It's everything you have ever wanted, and you're turning it down still? Why? You owe me an explanation after I spent years ensuring I had enough to offer you." That's really scary. If this guy's whole motivation for, like, working hard, grinding, and, you know, getting money is just to try and act on this fantasy delusion with a stranger, that's unhinged. Well, all of this is unhinged, but that one's even wilder because, again, they're not close to each other. They're still pretty much strangers. "I'm starting to get very upset by your actions. You have one more chance. Anything less than an emphatic yes will not be accepted." So he tries to, like, bring it down, an ultimatum. Last chance. This is the last ball game pitch here. It's got to be a home run yes, or I'm out. I'm sure this will come as a huge surprise to all of you watching this, but she still said no. In the most polite way possible, off. "I don't owe you shit. I'll be blocking you now. Have a great rest of your life. I waited all day to see if your little conniption would resolve and you'd come back begging me for this opportunity. But I see you've decided to block me on Facebook, but too stupid to also block me on Messenger. At least for now." He's now fully in his villain arc. He put on a trench coat, sunglasses, and he's doing this while typing. "I see you've blocked me on Facebook, but not Messenger. For now." I cannot believe I allowed myself to become entangled in the idea that a beastly fat woman such as yourself would actually choose to settle down with me. I can do so much better than you, and yet here I was offering you a way out of your wretched life. We both know you're settling with blank because you're too lazy to lose weight and make yourself more attractive, and you've trained him to be okay with your fat. I was willing to let your fatness go to the side because I knew if you had free time, you'd lose the weight and retain a more attractive figure for our relationship. I'm embarrassed I've spent so much time preparing for this moment and was wasted on a fat whore who doesn't know when she has struck gold. I truly thought you were different, that you actually wanted a nice man to be with. I see I was dead wrong. And she says, "You can literally suck the juices out of my fat blank and choke on them, you absolute troglodyte." So at least there's a happy ending here. It ended on a positive note for both parties involved. So this guy did end up doing the quintessential nice guy sign-off, that standard song and dance of, "You know what? I'm better than you. I should have never wasted my time with you because you're fat, and you're a whore, and you're chunky, you're chubby, and I hate you. You're tacky, and I hate you. You're fat, and I'm a nice guy, the nicest guy you'll ever meet. You blew it. You blew it. It's on you, and you should feel bad. I'm not crying, you're crying." That's where the text message journey comes to a conclusion. Like I said, there was a lot more outside of text that he did, but I only wanted to focus on the texts. Hopefully they don't have to deal with this individual anymore going forward, and yeah, that's about it. See ya. Do you remember Ko, the face stealer from Avatar: The Last Airbender? That creature that had a ton of different faces that it stole from its victims? Well, what if that thing was a Redditor? Do I have you piddling in your britches yet from this scary campfire story? I should, because it's real. I know Reddit and creeps go together like macaroni and cheese, but this particular specimen is special. He's like an SCP of pure delusion, cringe, and obsession. A dangerous mix, a recipe for disaster. And over the course of like 2 or so years, he's made a bunch of different accounts in order to message one lady in particular. And I'm sure this isn't the only person he's been messaging through all of these accounts. I imagine all of the other people are probably just too afraid to show anything or talk about anything in regards to this guy, because they're probably fearing for their lives. They're probably worried that he's going to show up at their doorstep and turn them into furniture like Ed Gein, because this guy is a freak. I haven't gone over weirdo messages in a while, so I thought it was time to dust off the swamp ass throne here to take a peek. The messages we're about to look at are the newest. They're only a couple of days old, and they come years after she thought she had already defeated this menace. But I guess there was a post-credit scene with like a hand reaching from the grave, and now he's back. And he's found her on Instagram, and he's starting to harass her there. Now, Buddy starts by activating his Sharingan of Riz. He's alting. He says, "Hey, can I slide her? We spoke on Reddit for a while." What an incredible opening line. This is no doubt a pickup artist. This guy... Naturally, she asks, "Who is this?" Because there's no profile picture here. I imagine the account name is some kind of like throwaway nonsense that looks like an Xbox Live arcade code. And he says, "I don't know how to describe it. It was also some time ago, but you have a great profile, ha ha ha, and amazing highlights. You seem very outgoing." Weaving a bit of mystery in there. This guy's good. "You know me, but I'm not going to tell you who I am. I actually don't know how to describe it, actually. Who am I?" An existential question. If you subscribe to Solipsism, I mean, we don't need to get into the weeds of it, but you have such an amazing profile, m'lady. And I'm just the gentle sir for you. She presses him saying, "What do you mean you don't know how to describe it?" Because that just doesn't compute. What do you mean you can't describe who you are if we spoke before? You come in here out of the blue unprompted saying that you know me, and then you can't describe that? What the f is wrong with you? What insane asylum did you squeak out of by accident? I mean, like, I can't remember anything besides how you look like, and I don't have our chats anymore. Only this right now. I don't even know your name. You even shot with guns. You Americans are crazy. She's talking to a lobotomite. He's suffering from amnesia, it sounds like. What do you mean you don't know? Like, you said we spoke on Reddit. You don't remember your Reddit account name or anything? And he tries to reassure her, "Oh, I don't even know your name, actually. I only remember what you look like." And just going off of that picture in my head, in my mind's eye, I was able to find your Instagram account somehow. Dude's trying to cosplay like he had his brain scrambled by MK Ultra and can't remember anything except for bits and pieces about this lady's appearance. He is very clearly just trying to avoid saying the Reddit name because he knows that she'll know that it's that weirdo creep from years ago that kept making tons of different accounts to keep harassing her. Also, I think I should clarify this because it may have been confusing. It started 2 years ago, but it wasn't like some one-time instance where this guy just made like a ton of different accounts and she blocked them all and that was it, just, you know, put the kibosh on it. He continued to do this for a long period of time. Like, there's a post from her from 2 years ago with him doing it, a post from a year ago with him doing it, so he's kept doing this behavior for a long time, and now this is just his most recent rodeo here again. Somehow, creepy Redditor returned. The creepy Redditor of 1,000 faces. She says again, "Who are you?" "I don't know. That's the only thing I know. Maybe I told you my name and you'll remember. It's blank." I imagine whatever name he gave right there isn't his real name. He probably just dropped an alias or just a fake name that he probably thought sounded cool. I bet my sweet Bippy that he just chose a name that he lifted from anime. "Oh yeah, it's me, Thorfinn." "You don't remember anything, do you? And what's your name?" "Sorry, but I forgot." What do you mean you don't remember anything? You've given her no information. What the f are you talking about? What is she supposed to be trying to remember here? You are a complete stranger who hasn't even left like a single breadcrumb to piece this puzzle together. She says, "What's your name on Reddit?" Point blank. That should be super easy to answer. And he goes, "Wait, let me think. Actually, it could be, I don't remember. Damn, it was so long ago. I don't know, I can't see the chat. I think you blocked me. But still, you are a bigger red flag than me." Oh boy howdy, he just dropped a bombshell and immediately goes on the defensive. "I think you blocked me. But it's because you're a huge red flag and you were intimidated by my overwhelming masculinity and the very strong jawline that I have. I've been mewing a lot. You were the problem then, but I'm willing to forgive you. I just don't remember what my Reddit account was. I'm sure you block a lot of people, so this probably wasn't like a dead giveaway, right? I blocked you? This is why you won't tell me your name. I don't know, I am not that familiar. I don't see the chat, and a bit of time has passed. You're from the US, right? I am from Europe. I don't even know what this strategy is here. I blocked you? I don't know. I'm not familiar. It's a lot of time has passed. You're from the US, right? Hey, did you know I'm from Europe? Said no European ever. Usually, if someone's going to talk about where they're from, they're not just going to say the whole continent. So I'm starting to highly doubt that this guy is actually from Europe. He's probably just in the US and making shit up here. I don't really get what he's even trying to accomplish. It's just so weird. Like, it's not even like flirting or anything. It doesn't do anything. It's actual just like it's like NPC dialogue in a video game that you'd hear in the background that's malfunctioning. Like, it doesn't work. It's not even like statements he's making. It's just disjointed thoughts that he's shitting out. But this was enough to let the cat out of the bag. She says, "You're the one who was DMing me from different accounts." Yeah, and I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling Redditors. So smart, but I can't see the chats anymore. Hopefully you are not creeped out or something. I am sorry. But you have an insane memory, especially if you have to read so much lol. And she just goes, "Yeah, you're creepy, goodbye." And he says, "No!" He probably saw that goodbye text message come through and he literally reached at his computer going, "No!" Like some kind of dramatic death scene in a movie. But now let's take a look at how we got to this point. Let's go to some previous seasons with encounters of this kaiju of cringe. We'll go all the way back to the beginning, 2 years ago. These are the first of the sacred texts, and it actually does look like they were at least exchanging DMs before this conversation happened, before he went full mask off and showed just how weird he was. So he goes, yeah, no worries. You just have to pick the right one, haha. Did someone send you a tribute? And she says, "What do you mean?" Now, if you've been around the cyberspace for as long as I have, you immediately know what he's talking about. He's talking about a cum tribute. That's something that only the most deplorable of degenerates engage in, where they come on someone's picture, or they even do it to figurines too, where they put them in a jar and then come on it, or sometimes they don't even use the jar. They go no props, they just do it raw. And that is what he is talking to her about here. This guy is so brain rotted that in the middle of like what seems to be some kind of conversation between these two, he starts talking about cum tributing to her. Like a cum tribute to your selfies. Just talking about it so casually, like this is a normal thing that normal sane people do. What are you talking about? I don't know, I could expect it from Redditors. I love that he tries to talk down on Redditors. He is literally like the quintessential Redditor that people make fun of. I'm so confused. What are you talking about? Like coming to your selfie and sending it to you. Or was that too much? Why would you even say that? Boredom, I guess? That's dangerous. I don't know. I finished studying and I am waiting until I meet friends of mine. He is trying so hard not to seem like a loser, so at the end he's like, oh, I don't know, like something Redditors would do. I'm not like one of them. I'm just kind of bored, you know. I was studying and now I'm waiting for my friends to come over. I got like 50 friends coming over because they wanted to hang out and like smoke cigarettes with me and shit, because like that's kind of what we do. And then maybe I'll end up having a threesome tonight, but I kind of just want to talk to you about all this splooge news, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm just kind of hanging out is all. Now, apparently she blocked him after that. I can't imagine why. And he was just as perplexed as I am. His confusion was so strong that he made a new account to message her again and try and get to the bottom of this mystery. Come on. And then I think he says her name there. Like, I am not doing anything, just being high. Like, come on, you can't get mad at him just for being high and talking about cum tributes. Like, what the like, come on, I have a soul. Are you serious? You text me from a new account? You're the creepiest person I've met on here. Seriously. It's getting weird, yeah, but I enjoyed talking to you. Please stop. Send a selfie. I will also send one. No, you. No! I don't know. I think we could have a good chat. Dropping his signature classic, no! Right before being blocked. I like that. I like how he says that they can have a good chat if given the chance. But it seemed like they were chatting, and then things just went off the rails, completely unhinged, with him bringing up busting a load like tributes to her. I don't know what he expected. I don't know why he thinks that's something that's normal. And he also just in the middle of this asks for a selfie and then tries to bargain by saying, I'll give you one. Like, you know, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. Come on, this is a great deal. Show me a selfie and I'll give you one. I know you really want one. Come on. Like it's some kind of gift. It's not like she's asking for a selfie. Nobody wants that. And there's no doubt in my mind he was just going to send some random person's picture. He probably would have chosen like Henry Cavill, like, surprise, it's been me, Henry Cavill, this whole time. Don't you feel silly for blocking me on the other account? All right, now let's talk seriously. Because this guy's probably like, I think he's probably on the much older side of things, just judging by the way he talks. And he has just been so poisoned by being just glued to Reddit that certain things on there, like tributes, he thinks are like normal things that younger people do. So after a couple blocks, he sends another one here from a new account, and it says, okay, will we talk if I send a selfie? Please, I want to prove to you that I am a 20-year-old chilled dude, actually also a romantic. And are you actually doing fitness? Answer this and I will send you a selfie. Nobody wants a selfie. It's not a reward. It's a punishment. It's a goddamn curse. And he keeps saying it. Like, look, if you just answer these questions like, are you into fitness? I'll send you a selfie. You've been begging for one. I'll do it. And please send me one. Come on, it's that easy. He just keeps mentioning that he'll send a selfie like, will we talk if I send one? Will this get you to finally open up to me? Fine, I'll give in and send you one of these, I suppose. Man, it's so weird. This dude's made a ton of accounts just to keep doing this to this person. And again, I imagine many others, but this is the only text from him that I can find thus far. It's so creepy. I always just find it fascinating how someone like him can exist. You can read these. Like, he's seeing the same messages we are, but to him, it's fine, and she's in the wrong. He even calls her a big red flag. Stop. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Been a while since we checked out some classic creepy messages, and that's about it. See ya. I hope you've been practicing your ha-ha-has, doing your laughing stretches, because we're about to have ourselves a real giggle fit here over this weirdo loser embarrassing himself in a big way. This post blew up on Twitter right now, so it seems like I'm not the only one with a naughty little guilty pleasure here who enjoys laughing at unhinged creeps. So the woman here has been talking to this fine, gentle sir from Bumble, and she asks him, I guess I'm just wondering what your expectations are from a partner. He goes, like, in terms of expectations from women? Or men, I don't know how you swing. And he goes, women, not men. He uses 2 periods here, so it feels like this was like very serious to him. He put his foot down on that one, so there would be no confusion. So then she says, lol, okay, then yeah, what are your expectations for your girlfriend, wife, whatever? Can I be honest about it? It might be seen as outdated or something, haha. To which he says, yeah, of course, this is a judgment-free zone. It's almost cute to imagine him typing that, like, can I be honest about it? And then she has to reassure him, like, yeah, of course, this is a safe space for a super special Sigma like you. And she's about to unleash the demon with that one. She doesn't know what deal with the devil she just made here. Now, while she might not be judging him, I certainly will be. I'm be judging this like dread. I'm gonna charge him with the capital offense of cringe here, because it's about to get brutal. So he spills his guts. Honestly, I'm looking for a traditionally feminine woman, someone who isn't going to mind being the child rearer and homemaker, someone who's going to take care of her appearance and herself and just all around is content to be a female in our relationship. I know that's pretty anti-feminist or whatever, but it's just how I feel. Lol. So he expresses his preference when it comes to a relationship and a partner, and all power to you. I believe this is something called tradwife, a term I just recently learned with this post going viral. So forgive me if I'm not 100% familiar with the nomenclature here or what it means, but based on what I've read, it refers to like a stay-at-home partner who will cook, clean, and take care of the children. Basically anything you used to see in old black and white television shows when it comes to the family dynamic is what tradwife refers to. It even stands for traditional wife, I think. So he's just expressing that that's what he's looking for here, and she responds very positively to it, saying, oh, slay, I don't think that's anti-feminist or outdated at all. To be honest, that's pretty similar to what I want too, lol. Kind of my dream if I'm being honest. And he goes, really? Well, Raggy, we've got ourselves a real match made in heaven. These two are sounding perfect for each other. What they want out of a relationship and a partner seems to align wonderfully. So what could possibly go wrong here, right? I mean, how do you this up? This is like fate bringing the two perfect soulmates together from the sound of things. So she goes even further. She's excited. She goes, yeah, double exclamation point. She's pumping her fist here. I'd love to be able to focus on making my house a home, working on myself, and just be taken care of without having to stress about expenses or money. And then here's where it starts to go tits up. What do you mean? There's cracks in the ship. It's starting to sink. He's got his monocle on. He's about to start investigating, interrogating. He's entering fight-or-flight mode because something here went awry in his eyes, and he's not too happy about it. So she explains, just that I'd love a traditional man who's going to cover my expenses and make sure I'm getting what I want. Someone who brings that kind of masculine energy. And he goes, so you're looking for a guy who isn't going to mind buying you whatever you want and basically will just bankroll your whole life? She's like, I don't know if I'd put it like that. I think you're starting to see where this is going. You're about to see the fork in the road and we're going down the path to Insano style. So you're a gold digger / user, basically. And she goes, we're like someone who will take care of our family financially so I can take care of him and his kids, etc. And she goes, no, LMAO, I promise, referring to not being a gold digger. How is that any different from you wanting your girlfriend / wife to take care of the home and their kids? Feels like a double standard for you to call me a gold digger. Now let's break this down here and follow the breadcrumbs of his logic. So he wants a stay-at-home wife that will take care of the kids, cook, clean, do laundry, wipe his ass, wipe his tears when he fails his bronze to silver promos in League of Legends for the 50th time in a row. But when she expresses that she'd want a traditional masculine husband that would be working and providing financially for both her and the household, he takes a big issue with that. He starts wiggling his finger. Well, actually, I shouldn't have to do those things. You're a gold digger for expecting that of me. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because as the initial tweet points out, he wants a traditional wife without him being a traditional husband. He then goes into a full soiled diaper temper tantrum meltdown. It's not a double standard. It's different because the things that I'm looking for, emotionally stable, takes care of herself, good with kids, are inherently female traits. Good women naturally have that stuff. You're looking for some rich guy who can buy you stuff. That's not naturally part of being a guy, it's totally different. I mean, especially because of how expensive life is in general these days, you think I'm going to be able to afford a $500,000 house on one salary just so you can play dress up and not have to worry about a job? You expect to not contribute to the bills or the cost of living? You. I knew there was something wrong with you. No wonder you tried to humiliate me at the restaurant. I should have left right then and there. I would bet a large amount of money that that humiliation he's referring to is something extremely trivial that nobody else in the world in their right mind would actually take as disrespectful. I actually guarantee what it is she asked if she could split the bill with him or maybe provide tip on their date at the restaurant. And when she said that, he's like, oh, my pride! You think I'm broke? You've humiliated me and the whole restaurant knows it now. But anyway, let's go through this whiny wiener's diary. So he starts, no. Listen here, harlot. These are inherently female traits. Being good with kids, emotionally stable, those kind of things. Being rich is not an inherently male trait. You just want some rich Chad that can buy you everything you want so you can suck all his money out. You expect me to buy you a $500,000 house on a one salary income and you don't have to worry about getting a job so you can just stay at home and play dress up? Which is a wild point to try and make because you are literally asking her to do that. You are telling her you want her to be a trad wife, a stay-at-home partner, and then you're just shitting on her for being a stay-at-home partner, just boiling it down to, you're just at home playing dress up. So you're like belittling her for what you want her to do, blaming her for not contributing to bills or the cost of living or anything when you are literally talking about how you want an angel that'll just be a stay-at-home trad wife. Like, I don't know how he can expect her to be a stay-at-home partner, taking care of kids, clothes, laundry, the household, the day-to-day activities, all of that, and also still having a job on top of it too to provide for herself as well as you. That makes no sense. You'd have to take on the role of the provider. You'd have to put on your big boy pants and really tighten your bootstraps to get a job that would allow you to live that lifestyle because you would have to provide that in order for your wife to be able to do those things. Because with the expectations you have of her that you express here, she would not be able to get a job on top of all of that as well to help out. That's why the trad wife model also needs the trad husband on top of it that would be providing it. But he is right about one thing. It is nearly impossible to afford a house on a one salary income in today's climate. This is actually something we've talked about quite a bit on stream recently, but the cost of living right now is tragic. It is unbelievably expensive. You'd have better luck winning a house from a game show like Deal or No Deal than being able to afford one with just a one salary income, because the prices are ridiculous right now. It's horrible. So he is right that it'd be unlikely that with just him working, he'd be able to buy a house for his family. But in that case, he would need to understand that his partner would also be working as well to help with that, thus wouldn't necessarily be able to provide all the trad wife things that he would expect of his partner. So she responds saying, "My guy, chill out, because he is having a conniption right now. I never said I was looking for a rich guy or a 500k house or anything like that, just that I want a guy who can take care of me, especially if I'm raising his kids. How can your dream woman be the homemaker and child rearer if she's also working full-time to pay the bills? I have absolutely no issue with gender roles or division of labor in a relationship, but you're not looking for a traditional woman. You're looking for a maid and nanny who can also help pay your bills." And she is right on the money with that one. Absolutely cooked him with it. That is exactly what he's pretty much describing at this point. He's not really even looking for a trad wife. He's looking for a sex robot, basically, that can double as a, basically, nanny. So someone who's going to take care of the kids, take care of the entire household, but then he can still come home and stick his pathetic cock in and then call it a night with a brewski and passing out on the couch. And this is when the wheels fully come off. You just say you were only interested in me for my money. Next time you match with some sucker, tell him that up front so he doesn't waste his time with you. And then she says, "I paid for last night, my dude." So that must be the humiliation he's referring to. She paid for the meal that they ate together, and he still is fuming about it. He's still just steam coming out of his ears about it. And then she goes, "What do you mean interested in you for your money? Shut the f up. My comp sci degree is going to do way more for me than your business one ever will, bitch. Now I know why you're getting a finance degree. Probably so you can scout out the rich guys and try and steal their money." And she just goes, "If you're going to curse me out and call me gold digger because I want a traditional man even though you want a traditional woman, something tells me you're not the type of guy I'm looking for. Lose my number, but I hope you have a good life." I really feel like behind his text messages, I can sniff the tears in his eyes. Like after he sent that final text message there, he threw his phone down and screaming and wailing into the bathroom where he locked himself in there for the next half an hour to calm down, splashing water on his face. These two, in the beginning, seemed to be perfectly in line with what they wanted out of a partner. This felt like a great match here, and yet Goofball was able to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory here, driving her as far away as possible, frightening her, and revealing that he is a massive, unhinged lunatic and a big old creep. Like, what in the world? She even paid for their dinner last night, too, and then he still had the gall to be like, "You're only with me for my money." What? But the shamelessness still wasn't over yet. He came back later and then sent a message at 1:30 a.m. after all of this hoopla and just said, "Hey, you up right now?" Trying to booty call the girl that he just had this embarrassing temper tantrum in front of. Hey, sometimes you gotta just shoot your shot, I guess, even after you make an absolute fool of yourself. I don't know what fantasy land he's living in that would make him think that would work. I don't know what he was expecting. Maybe he thought the Men in Black went and neuralized her or something, so she totally forgot about these text messages. But that was never going to pan out well there at the end. I don't know why he thought he might get some action from it. But yeah, I saw this floating around today and I just had to talk about it a little bit. I am so glued to these awful text messages and like these awful dates and romance stories, man. I am in so deep on it. Anyway, that's about it. See ya.